My wife is going to join me, and we are going to spoiler talk the new Beauty and the Beast movie. So,
some spoilers ahead?
I don't know. If you saw the 1991 movie, then you already know exactly what's going to happen with this movie, so I don't know. But if you would rather spoiler-free, check out that link. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin.
I'm Laura.
And we are going to spoiler talk Beauty and the Beast. I figure a good starting point is the stuff that was not in the cartoon. And from there, we will move outward to the overall feel of this movie.
Well, one of the things that wasn't in the cartoon, well, it was in the cartoon, but they had different jokes that they threw in there.
Yeah.
So there were times where I'm like, okay, this isn't as good as a cartoon. And then bam, oh, that was good.
Name one.
Oh, snap. I can't off the top of my head. That is not a good sign, is it?
So, one of the things that was kind of interesting was they're giving Belle a backstory.
A little more of a backstory, yeah.
And so, I don't know, it was interesting, and I wish they would have brought this in more than just once, because it was interesting, but the Beast having that book, this magic book that you can put your hand on the page.
And it can take you to that location.
Yeah, well, whatever location you believe in your heart, or you feel in your heart that you want to be, which the Beast called it the fairy lady's cruelest trick. The Enchantress. Called it her cruelest trick, because nowhere would a beast like him be accepted.
Yeah.
And so he thought it was just this cruel trick, but... So Belle goes back to the village where she was born.
She goes into the room of
Paris.
the place where she was in Paris. Like, she always talks about how she wanted to go back. And
Yeah.
Dad's like, no, this is a safe little town. This is... And his reasonings for being there was because the plague hit their house and their mom died from it.
Yeah, that was a really interesting plot, that Belle's mom had the plague, but Belle's father could never bring himself to tell her, which I don't know why. Yeah. They didn't really establish that well, but anyway.
She just said he could never bring it because he loved his wife so much.
That's true.
He just... She knew not to bring it up because she knew it would destroy him to talk about it.
So she was a nice daughter. But that was interesting to me, that instead of just the typical Disney, there's just one parent that's just not there. They made the attempt in this one to put more of a backstory to Belle and kind of give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing I thought was interesting, they did less of this with the Beast, yet they did try to give the Beast a backstory, that his mother died.
They showed a little more of it, yeah.
And his mother died when he was a boy, but it turns out his father was like a
cruel man.
Cruel man, and he twisted the prince to be the cruel man that he was.
Yeah.
Now, they only said it like that fast, and it's kind of something I wish they would have dived in just a little bit more.
Because then they would have explained, and where did his father go?
Yeah, like what happened to his father. Like, we're assuming he's dead, but what do we know? But
we don't.
It was interesting that they attempted to give the Beast and Belle a little bit more flesh. Like, they went back to give them a little more
similar stories.
And similar stories. I liked the opening monologue in this better than the cartoon, because the cartoon, he's 21 as the Beast, so he's been cursed for 10 years, so he's 11 when he got cursed. Yeah. So an 11-year-old immature kid who somehow doesn't have parents opens the door and slams it shut on an old lady, so he gets cursed and all in the house to be a beast. This one gave you the backstory, why he was a beast in his heart already, that he was this super shallow guy, that he filled his castle with only the richest looking and finest things, and always had the finest parties with the most beautiful women. They didn't use that word, but that's what they're going for. With the most beautiful women. Yeah, it's only women there.
Yeah, he's dancing with like 50 women.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the Enchantress breaks into the party because she's trying to escape the storm, and he laughs at her rather than helping her. And he's not 11. He's an adult, so it's not an immature kid. He's just a jerk face.
Pretty much.
So I like that better.
Yeah.
I've talked a lot. What else do you got?
Well, a couple. I mean, it's hard because a lot of the things... The parts that I liked more were parts that weren't in the original so much. I do feel like they did a great job paying tribute to the original. Like, they had the music score underneath. The music score was probably the best part of the movie.
It was fun.
And overall, like, the singing wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be. I had my questions. I felt like they did a really good job. Luke Evans honestly surprised me. He just had a better singing voice than I honestly expected. I knew Josh Gad. I believe he'd done Broadway and things like that before. I expected to have a decent voice, and he did well. And
yeah,
Emma Watson, you keep seeing her in the trailers. The same. I mean, it's not like Broadway whoa quality, but it was good. I mean, she did a good job.
You said something in the car on the way home that I think you should bring up about the translation from the animated thing to the live action.
I felt like, but I was waiting to get to our negatives to talk about that.
It's a spoiler talk. We kind of just throw that stuff around everywhere.
So one of my issues is I felt like this is my analogy. The cartoon is this great book that you love, and this is the movie that was made about that great book. So a lot of the times the movies made about a book you love fall short, and it did. And the other thing for me I had a hard time with is I didn't feel like I was in a movie. Like sometimes when you're watching a movie, you're in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was placed back in, I'm not sure what year, but old times in Paris, France. And I've never been to France, so I don't know, but it just felt like everybody was stage acting for me. I didn't feel like I was in a movie. I felt like it was a stage act. So like when they were doing some of the songs, I'm like, oh, that's what it would be like if it was on Broadway. I'm like, that's what it would be like if, I saw it here or there. I'm like, but for me, that was a downfall for the movie side of it.
It's funny because I did see this in New York. My good friend Ashwin. What up, Ashwin? We went and saw this on Broadway, and it was epic to see this performed on Broadway.
Was it similar to that what we just watched?
Well, that's what I was trying to say, is that it was very similar. They're about halfway through this movie, because, since I do these reviews now, sometimes I can't help it. I'm thinking in my head, how is this flow going? How does this feel? How am I going to review this? And at one point, I realized I was being too harsh on it because I felt like the pacing was weird, the pacing was fast, and then I went,
weird at first.
Wait a minute, I'm judging this wrong. I'm judging this as a movie. This is not a movie. This is a Broadway play made into a movie. Because what you're saying is true. I felt like that. I realized it was when the Beast was singing when Belle left.
Yeah.
The way that he was like moving and singing.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is stage. We have exited cinema and we are now watching stage. And I don't mean to say that as something that's too negative.
Honestly, if you go into it knowing that, I think you'll enjoy it a lot more.
And I'm not trying to say like that's a negative of the movie. It's just, when I go to a movie, I'm expecting a movie. And then once I realized this is closer to a musical Broadway play kind of thing, I began to shift my expectation about halfway through the movie. And I found I ended up enjoying it more. Because I like plays.
And I felt like the second half of the movie in general was better.
Yes. It definitely got better the second half.
Something he said in his spoiler-free was when Belle and the Beast started to flirt, when they were starting to be friends and stuff like that, that was really just, it started to turn. There was one thing I was very disappointed. One of my favorite scenes in Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon, is when the wolves are about to attack Belle. And the Beast comes in, and then he stands over her. You can't touch this girl to the wolves, and then he attacks. You don't. It's just that shot where he's looming over her to protect her. You don't see that in this. I'm like, and it probably wasn't able to do it, but I was really hoping for that. I mean, there was times where they mixed stuff up, like something that happened here, they did it a little bit later because it actually worked better in the way they had the movie done, but. I wanted that. I'm a little bummed that I didn't get that because that would have been they paid tribute in so many ways, like the castle. I mean, just so many ways, and that would have been that was a disappointment.
Something to me that was interesting that I don't think was in the cartoon. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it was at the end of the movie. The last petal falls and the Beast dies. But the curse, the way it worked in this, is everybody that, was a candlestick or a clock or whatever they were, would actually become that object. They would lose all life and become that object. Mm-hmm. And when the last petal fell, the Beast died, and everybody turned into the object.
The Beast died from his gunshot wounds from Gaston.
Yes.
So, and she's crying, and the Enchantress shows up.
Yeah, she was the homeless woman throughout the whole of the movie living in the town, which is kind of a nice little twist.
Yeah, but she shows up, she's walking up, and she walks up the stairs, and the last petal's starting to fall, and it's kind of, tugs on the heartstrings when you see, Chip become a boy, and you see, or not a boy, you see him become a solid cup, and Mrs.
Yes.
Potts. And like
she's like, "Where's my son? And she never finds him, and then turns into a pot.
turns into a teapot. What I thought was interesting, the last petal fell. So to me, it should have been over. But the Enchantress comes up.
She had mercy.
And
she heard Belle say, "I love you."
She saw Belle crying, and she's heard her say, "Love you," and all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, somebody loves him." You know, looks off in the side, and all of a sudden she like, you know, does some magic, and you see like 4 or 5 of the petals start coming back alive and twirling around it, and then the transformation begins.
So I thought that whole thing was just really cool the way they did all of that, and then they all became human.
Yeah.
And I did not like any of them in their human forms. I just
like
didn't.
Ian McKellen.
Well, yeah, he was the only one that had jokes when he became a human, but like...
Well, and he's the only one that looked okay in the white wig.
Yeah, Lumiere, Ewan McGregor, he looked weird in that white wig. I don't know, there was something about when they all became human, none of their personalities really matched up for me.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, it felt weird. I thought
that in the movie too, though.
Yeah,
or the
but
cartoon.
it's like I don't know.
Like the Beast didn't fit Lumiere. Well, Lumiere in the cartoon fit in Cogsworth because but I don't know.
Well, it's just everybody complains about how the CGI Beast looked, and I'm like, well, he looked better as a CGI Beast than he did as a human. I'm sorry, that was my personal opinion.
Those be fighting words for some girls.
Whatever.
I'm in agreement, but
I apologize to the girls that now want to fight with me, but I'm just saying that that whole transformation when all of these cursed characters became humans, that when they were humans, they were letdowns to me, and I can't even put my finger on why. It was just something about their human forms did not work after I got to know them in their animated
forms. One other thing that I did like is they talked about how the Enchantress, when she put the spell on him, they made the village forget about them. And so when when the spell is lifted, because they just got their butts handed to them by the staff of the castle, and so they are running away, and all of a sudden the spell's broken, and so you see the villagers coming back. And what was interesting is like there's Mr. Potts, like Mrs. Potts' husband was one of the guys.
Yeah, he was a villager.
And Cogsworth's wife, and that was one of the funny parts. He's like, "I want to be a clock. I want to be a clock. I want to be a clock." That kind of little funny joke, but just I like that because in the cartoon, they don't explain that the villagers forgot, because how can you forget there's this giant castle?
But it was weird because the curse became the villagers. So everybody in the castle was cursed to become these objects, and everybody outside the castle was cursed to completely forget about the castle, the prince, and that whole part of their lives. And that was kind of a interesting little twist that they put.
Which I liked, because the thing is, I always wondered, why did people forget about this castle?
So I gave this movie a B-. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It's not going to be in my top 5. I'm not anxious to own this one on Blu-ray like I am with the Jungle Book. But it was good. I mean, I think it's a fun movie-going experience, and if you go with the right expectations, you will have a lot of fun with it. Yeah,
for me, I go back and forth between a C- and a B+. I mean, a C+, and a B-. I'm going to lean towards a B- because there's a lot of things that I did enjoy in the movie. But if I'm going to watch Beauty and the Beast again, I'm going to watch the animated one from 1991. I don't think I'll ever watch this again unless it's on an airplane or somebody else has it on and I happen to be there. I won't purchase this movie. That's just, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of great things to it, but watch the cartoon. It's better. Well, for me, I enjoyed the cartoon better, so...
Well, that's what Laura and I thought of this new Beauty and the Beast. What are your thoughts? Be sure to let us know in the comments. What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Let us know. While you're there, hit that subscribe button, become a Durbanian. Next to the subscribe button is that little bell.
Ding.
Click that bell. That way you're notified the moment I drop a new video, like Iron Fist. I'm in the midst of binging Iron Fist.
It's rough.
And oh, it is rough.
It's rough to watch that much TV at once, but it's not.
My good friend the Cholo Nerd is going to return, and we're going to review that. Yeah, he comes in for a lot of my Marvel stuff.
He's a huge fan of the Marvel stuff, so it fits.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get through it, even though apparently this show has a 0% on Rotten Tomato. But to hear our thoughts, I'm going to try to get it up Sunday. At the latest, that review will be up Monday. So between Sunday and Monday, you'll get to see my review and Cholo Nerd's review of Iron Fist. Yes. So that's gonna be cool. So make sure you hit that subscribe button for things like that. Check out my other videos here. Like and share this video. I'm Durbin.
I'm Laura.
Thank you for checking out Durbania.